Everyone. I would just love to see all of your faces, but this is a virtual fundraiser, so we want to reach out to you though with a big virtual hug and just thank you. Welcome to all of our friends. I understand there's even people coming in from Chile, from Rome, from Portland, Oregon, from Ohio, from all over the United States and maybe even beyond the United States, like we just said. So welcome everyone, and thank you so much. We are so grateful for each one of you, for your interest, for your support of PBMR, and for being such a part of the PBMR family. So thank you for being here, and hang in there with us. We're going to share so many wonderful stories for the next hour. So thank you for being with us. So we're going to start. I got 3 wonderful staff persons here. They got so much passion for the work that they do here at PBMR. So I'm so happy that they're going to introduce themselves and tell a little bit about their role at PBMR. So Pamela, would you like to begin and just introduce yourself with that big smile?
Hi, I'm Pamela Purdie. I work at Precious Blood Ministry of Reconciliation. I am the Restorative Justice Coordinator and the Peace Circle Trainer for people who come to us and want to be trained as Peace Circle Keepers. I also do a lot of the circles that we do at Precious Blood.
Hi, everybody. I am so glad to be here on today. My name is Karlyn Francois. I have been at Precious Blood for a little over 2 years now, where I started off coordinating the Young Women's Initiative. Working with the women of PBMR is such a blessing. So to be able to provide case management and mentoring and to meet our women where they're at has been my thrill. So I look forward to this panel discussion to talk with my colleagues. Sister Donna, thank you so much for just narrating this for us. And yeah, it's going to be a great discussion. Thanks for having me.
And I'm Joseph Mapp. I'm a Reentry Case Manager as well as a career navigator. I'm also an example of what restorative justice looks like because I'm a returning citizen. So I'm definitely happy to be here and to play a part in such a beautiful process that takes place. I'm also honored to be among such esteemed women as the ones on this panel. So I'm looking forward to hearing what they have to say. You always learn something new when we get into discussions.
Thank you, Joe. We're so happy you're with us women. So thank you. And you know, we are a Precious Blood Center, and we're also a Restorative Justice Hub. And so we're just so excited about what we have the privilege of doing in our community and beyond. So Pamela, I wondered if you would tell us a little bit more about restorative justice and how we use circles. And I think that Nick is going to show us a picture of one of the mother's circles.
Well, restorative justice is about community and building relationships. Something that I've been doing for like 20 years now. At Precious Blood, I really enjoy working with the young men that we serve, also with the mothers and everyone in the community, because building relationships, when we sit in the circle, we have values, we do exercises that bring us closer together, and we get to know each other so we can have that support that we get when we come together as a community. So Peace Circles is a tool that we use to embrace everyone. It's non-judgmental. We come and we show up. We work in the schools. In that relationship building, the biggest thing that I have learned with restorative justice is that when you create that bond, that relationship, then it's very difficult to do harm to one another. And we want to support each other as we go about whatever we need to do, especially with uplifting our young men and bringing in resources and talking about the things that come to us that they need. So restorative justice in Precious Blood is community building, relationship building, and offering whatever is needed whenever we come together in a circle.
Thank you, Pamela. And when Pamela's going to do a circle training, she comes, even if it's raining, of course, that's her favorite thing, rain. And she'll say, I'm so excited because more people are going to learn this beautiful process of circles. So,
and we do circle trainings once a month. So we're always bringing people from the community, people outside of the community, training individuals to take this back to their own community. We work with the schools and helping them to create peace circle rooms in the school. So my role is just to make sure that people are trained and people understand the importance of that relationship building.
Joe, could you tell us a little bit about how you have used circles, or how with the returning citizens or with our youth? Could you share a little bit with us, please?
Yes, I can. Well, using circles with returning citizens is a great experience because we're paradoxically between two worlds. We're leaving a world that's abnormal but familiar to us, and we come into a world that we once knew but has changed so much. So in this space, we need to find a way to connect with one another. And we do this through the circles, through the healing circles and reentry circles. And we have to, oftentimes we experience things that we feel only each other can connect and relate to, because it's hard to express how a person at any given age may have to learn certain things over and over again, while little kids can easily do it. Or whatever experience you may have, like with dealing with family, relationships, or whatever the case may be. So we create that space where it's non-judgmental and it's a way to connect and support one another in our endeavors moving forward. That space has been great, not only to reentry, but sometimes we have some of the young men who may be at the center that may want to just sit in just to experience it and learn from our lived experiences. So that experience to me in itself is the greatest part of it, when we can share what we've experienced.
Karlyn, how about with the women and the way that you've used circles, or we've used it with the women at Mother Brunner House?
Yes, so our circles with our women are always just so powerful. So the circles tend to differ depending on the group of women that we have. For example, you, Sister Donna, being able to coordinate our mother's circle, right? Being able to sit in circle with mothers who've lost children to incarceration and gun violence, and sit down and allow them to share their stories, to hear one another and uplift and encourage. So those healing circles are a big part of the work that we do, to get these women to feel connected, to let them know that they have community. And it's a big part of just what we do here at Precious Blood with our women. And when it comes to the young women, I found that a lot of those circles are really centered also around healing. Our young women have dealt with so much trauma in this community and don't necessarily have the safe outlets to talk about that trauma, whether it's a boyfriend that's been shot or somebody else, or they don't have a close relationship with their mom or their dad, or they're struggling as a young parent. This is a space, right, in our circles where these young mothers can come together and say, I know exactly how you feel. I can resonate with that. I am right here with you. And sometimes we just have circles of encouragement. Our young women to sit in circle and say, hey, sister, I see you over there. You are looking great today. I love your smile. You're going to make it. You know, you're going to be okay. And those are the type of circles that our young women and our older women, our moms, they need. So it's been just such a blessing to be able to incorporate restorative justice here at Precious Blood in the Mother Brunner House, and allow these circles to flourish and to meet the needs of our women.
Thank you. Yeah, we've sat with lots of women, lots of men in circles, and just to restore relationships and give people, you know, you can have circles of celebration. You can have circles of healing and understanding, but almost anyway. So we're trying to move that into the families also. Mm-hmm. So our fundraiser this year, or this fall, is for helping families to move forward. And we are trying our best. We kind of started out with helping our young men in the community to move forward, and then our mothers. And now we see how important it is to bring the family together. So I don't know which one of you would like to begin kind of a discussion on that, of how we're trying to help our families move forward and what do they really need in order to move forward. So I see Pamela ready to say something.
It makes me think about something that we just finished doing. I had the privilege to work with my training partner, Cheryl, and we just trained 10 mothers from the Mothers Program. And it turned out to be more than what we expected, because however, when you take the peace circle training, everyone is not expected to be a circle keeper, but what they go away with is being conscious now of the community around them, what's needed. So to have the mothers, the ones that we train to want to be a part of bringing restorative justice to their community, making us aware of who needs a circle and what kind of relationship that needs to be built. That's really what we do in the community with restorative justice, is making the families part of the community and part of the precious blood. So our goal is to also, and we have also in the past, we train the young men. So we have circle keepers among our young men. That's really exciting because they listen to each other. Once a month, I do a circle with the young men where we bring in other people to sit in that space. And what it is, when we create circles in restorative justice, is we create safe space. That's what's needed, especially today, is creating space where anything can be said. We can come together and come up with any solutions that need. So to have families doing their own circles, which is what one of our goals is to have families, have circle keepers among that family to come together, just bring one another together and be that hope that we need. So I'm very proud. I'm very proud of the people that I've trained at Precious Blood, the circle keepers that are out in the community, and not just back of the yards, but all over the state and out of state, out of country. They're doing circles, they're creating safe space, and that's what's needed. It's a place where people can be heard and people can say the things that need to be said. And it's a tremendous, tremendous moving forward with what's needed in our communities and a lot of the communities throughout Chicago.
Yes, Pamela, I really second what you are saying. And to just kind of hear you talk about being able to train our community members and those outside our community, men and women, it really just shows how much PBMR has come full circle with working with families, right? Because it's not just about, okay, give the mother the tools that she needs or give the father the tools that they need, but give the entire family that opportunity to understand what restorative justice is like. And that pretty much brings us to today and what we're really all about. And we have always been about family, but I think today, especially, we are more intentional about our work with the entire family. And unfortunately and fortunately, in our back of the yards neighborhood, we know that our families are non-traditional. It's not just a typical man, woman, husband, wife, kids, and a dog. Sometimes it is just those single parent households. But it's being able to say, as a family, we want to equip you so that when you go home at night, when you have conflict, whenever you need peace or healing or some sort of celebration, you can use these tools. So I am so proud to be a part of Precious Blood and to see how this work has really become full circle.
So when we think about the families, and we think about just a second what they all said, when we're thinking about the families and how we try to equip them with different tools, and circles also are trauma informed. So it helps people to identify and not take things personally. So if you see someone who experienced trauma, because a lot of the communities we interrelate with has experienced or undergone a lot of trauma. Well, these healing circles and trauma-informed circles help us to identify it and categorize it and better navigate through it. It helps give the family a language to use, because if you can't name something, that's what frustrates a lot of people. But we try to help give the ability to name what the problem is. And if you can name it, you can identify it, then you can rectify it. And we believe in trying to experience that, empowering people. It is not our goal to try to change lives, but just to create the space for where change can take place. And through the circles is what actually happens. And recognizing that it's not just individual, because we do start off with just participants and may deal with an individual participant, but it increases to include the family, because we recognize how interrelated their environment is to their success. To our success, I should say, because I can't separate myself from it, because I feel I'm a part of it the whole way of the process. So that's what a circle do. It connects us to community without boundaries, without just saying back of the yards, like Pam mentioned, because she teaches the circle and train people to implement the circle in different spaces, we're now becoming connected to so many different people. And that is the backbone of Precious Blood, the relationship. When we build relationship and build community in different spaces, we're able to connect and grow together.
Absolutely.
Feel a lot of passion among these 3 staff persons, and we have about 17 more on staff that have that kind of passion to restore relationships and bring people together, non-judging, not judging anyone, but just bringing them into these families. And families look different, like Karlyn alluded to, because we have the returning citizens family, we have the police family. So I don't know if any of you would like to talk about the work we do with the police here in our area, or the returning citizens, as we did about mothers also. So I just invite you to come forth with something about our different style of family.
So one way the circle is expand to more than just different departments is we've started a council of men. In the council of men, we included the men we started here within Precious Blood, but we send out invitations to the community and to the police departments. And we have 2 different police departments. We have Area 9 and Area 10 that both comes and attends our council of men circles. And through these circles, and I think Pam can speak more to it because she recently engaged with a circle with the youth and the officers. And through these circles, the communication allowed the space for education. So that way we won't go off our assumptions and our beliefs and our past experience and then view every person in just one aspect or one area of what they present themselves to be, but understanding that they're dynamic. So when we see police, it's more than just seeing a person in the blue uniform. And when they see us through conversation and becoming a little more familiar with one another, they see us as individuals. So these circles allowed that space for, but I think Pam would be best to speak to that because she just had a recent circle.
I'm not sure where our Pam is. Pamela?
I think we lost her, but I'm
Lost
sure she'll
Pamela,
get back.
can you bring her back in? Okay, all right. Yeah, Karlyn, did you want to address that at all, or some of the needs that you see our families need in order to move forward, and how they might be a little different than what sometimes we think of as family, which you alluded to earlier?
Yeah, well, I'm just actually getting flashbacks to circles that I've been able to sit in with our police officers in our community, and to just think about exactly what JoJo have alluded to, that it's not just about seeing them in their uniform in the blue, but it's about getting to know them as a person and realizing just how much a part of the community they are as we are. We have some wonderful officers in our district that are always coming out to see about us, always inviting our youth or coming to participate. So I'm just grateful for that. I'm grateful for that perspective that we get to see. Now, in terms of your other question, Sister Donna, when we think about some of the needs that our families have, we've been seeing a lot of need in terms of life skills. It's almost as if our community is not as privileged to get some of those life skills, such as financial management, or really understanding the upkeeping of their home, or career building, job skills. So to really be able to push for these skills and to really help empower our families have been really important in these days, especially since COVID, recognizing what those needs are, since a lot of families are not getting out as they work. Our youth are not physically in school, they're at home. So understanding what that need looks like, understanding how the trauma in the home is affecting our young folks, and how we can build up families to express these needs. As JoJo said, to be able to name it has been really important. And it's been an important part as we sit in circle to sort of deal with it and bring it to the front of the table.
So when you think of the needs of the families, one example I can think of is when COVID first hit, and we first had the city had to go on a lockdown. Many people, many families in our community may not have their own personal transportation and they rely on public transportation. Because of this, a lot of families were unable to go out to Walgreens to get prescriptions that may be taken for granted by many people. That need was needed to be addressed, and thankfully the men of Precious Blood and the women is to help the family receive their medication, their much needed medication. So when you think about resources, or sometimes they may need it to wash their clothes and then have transportation to go to a laundromat. So it can be something as mundane as washing clothes, or something very needed or critical as pharmacy renewal. So it's different needs. It's a constellation of needs that the family may need. It's just having the ability to be there to try to satisfy that need when it arises is probably one of the best pleasures a person can receive from Precious Blood. And I think I'm thankful for this opportunity, and I hope all our listeners and people watching would recognize that there are many needs, and feel free to donate if their hearts moved, or support us in whatever way they can.
Pamela, it's good to have you back. I wanted to kind of address also, you brought it up, Joe, of COVID-19 and the effects that it had on PBMR, and especially our families with lack of transportation, a lot of them losing their jobs. So how can you kind of share with our listeners and our supporters, how did that affect us as PBMR? We're not getting a voice from, can you?
I can say with the person that does all the trainings, it's hard to come together. For like 3 months, we were not coming together, bringing people together. What we did, a couple of things we did. We created a video to show families how to come together. You're not necessarily separate keepers, but you want to come together. So we introduced the idea of always having values, even if you're just a family sitting at the kitchen table, what that really looks like. So we distributed this video to people who, because what's going on and everything that's going on, people need to come together. There is a great need to come together and talk about the pains, the struggles, the challenges. So we did that, and we also are now bringing people together, only 8 individuals, and we keep the distance, we wear the mask. There is a need that people still want to learn how to do this and bring it back to their workspace and do virtual trainings, virtual circles. We meet every second Monday of the month. All the circle keepers, a lot of the people that I've trained, coming together to just figure out together as a community, what do we need to do to keep this going? We know the country has come to a stop, but we do also know the value of peace circles and restorative justice building community. We know that that never stops. That cannot stop. So we've been really creative by doing this video, by bringing a few people together, training people still, so they can continue, whether it's virtual or by phone, but so they can continue those relationships, offering people what they need, or just people telling you what they're going through. Just a check-in circle. That's a big need right now. Checking in with our families, especially our young men, checking in with them. So we are doing training still and offering scholarships.
So oftentimes when we hear of essential workers, we think of nurses and firemen. Well, I would like to think of Precious Blood. Thanks to Mr. Kelly, even when COVID hit at its height, that's when he dug in and spoke of the need for Precious Blood to be here, to still be able to connect and communicate and walk alongside the people in the community to ensure their resources and needs were met. So during that time, the reentry team reported to work daily. We socially responsible, of course, with the face masks, the gloves, and the sanitizer, but we passed out food. We delivered food, and thanks to the Mother Brewing House, we delivered Pampers and different things to families that may have needed them. Like I've mentioned, we also tried to help family bridge the gap between themselves and their local pharmacy or their distant pharmacy, because you have to keep in mind that there was some looting during this time, which shut down a lot of businesses. And so that placed a greater burden on the people, that they had to travel further distances just to get basic necessities. So thanks to like I say, the leadership of Father Kelly, who kept the doors open, we were able to continue to reach out because we knew the need was greater during COVID. So we were able to reach out and assist families in multiple ways.
You brought a lot of food to a lot of families, didn't you, Joseph?
Yes. Yes, but I was happy to do so because if you can see the smiles on the families' faces during these times, during COVID, it was difficult to smile because families was unsure of their future. They were locked inside and a lot of things was closed off to them. So we tried to ensure that cabin fever didn't set in and they knew that they were still being loved even during these times. That's one of our principles. Our core value is radical hospitality. And we extend that even during COVID. In spite of COVID, I should say.
I'd like to address all of you on the fact of how COVID also affected our incarcerated families, the families who had children incarcerated or adults incarcerated, and how we were able to, I think there was one of our supporters actually called in and said, how does PBMR stay connected to those who are incarcerated? And I know that, you know, they couldn't have visitors. There was a lot of COVID in the prisons and in the jails. And so I would ask that any one of you just kind of address that to our supporters and listeners, how that was handled.
Well, we went in actually, well, not after COVID, but we were going into a juvenile facility and doing circles with those young men, building relationship. Also, after we were no longer allowed to go into the institution, we went virtual. We were holding circles once a week, and the boys look so forward to it. Once you open that door to safe space, which is what I think everybody is looking for or want, especially now, it's hard for them to want to be without it. So right after it was evident that we couldn't go back in, we continued doing circle virtually, and they would look forward to meeting us every Friday. So I think that, like I said before, it's important that we didn't stop and that we don't stop. We be safe, but we continue to open those spaces and create those spaces where people can be heard and check in with just basically how they're doing. So we continued working with our juveniles in the institutions and coming out.
And we continue to work with our mothers as well during that time, during this time altogether. I really admired how the Mothers Healing Circle, led by you, Sister Donna, was able to continue virtually during the COVID-19 pandemic. And I think that it was just a wonderful space, even if we were just on the phone or on Zoom connecting with our mothers, for them to say, wow, you know, my loved one is incarcerated and this is how I'm feeling about it during this time. These are what the needs are. It was really important that our mothers still felt like they had a sense of belonging and that somebody was listening to them when it came to, you know, their son or nephew or whoever being incarcerated. So for us to keep up those spaces as they transformed virtually became very critical. And those mothers were able to bond together and feel the support and the love from one another, even though we weren't able to say, how can I physically get you there, or what can I physically do? They had the support of one another, and that was tremendous at the time.
And before COVID and even during COVID, we also accept telephone calls from those who are incarcerated, and we engage in a letter writing campaign. Once COVID hit, we partnered with different organizations to try to donate masks and sanitizer to the county jail as well as to prisons. So it's different ways we try to extend ourselves to ensure that everyone still recognizes that they're not being forgotten, whether you're incarcerated or the families of the incarcerated, because when one individual is incarcerated, the whole family experiences it. So we try to make sure we support everyone involved.
Yeah, Joseph, could you tell us a little bit about the family of the returning citizens? You're such a family that, you know, we just are so excited of how you become a part of the PBMR family. So I think our supporters and listeners would love to hear about that family.
I'm gonna have to second Karlyn when I say the definition of family expands beyond the nuclear family. Because when I think of family, I think of PBMR as well. I was easily embraced and I was made to feel loved and not stigmatized from my past experience. I was not just defined by one moment in my life. don't be mistaken, I'm ashamed of what it was that caused me to be incarcerated. But through my PBMR family, I was able to move beyond my guilt and shame and actually play a role in contributing in a meaningful way to multiple lives. I'm thankful for that. Now, my immediate family has been very supportive. They embrace me in and they walk with me and they're patient because best believe, although I'm a 28-year-old man, I don't care what a birth certificate says, I still may have shortcomings and have to learn things anew as I make this transition. My family has been supportive, and my family have been supported by PBMR. Anyone from my family, when they come to visit or meet, get welcomed with hugs. It's pre-COVID, that is, with hugs and well wishes, and they was embraced and pulled in as if they was a part of the family already. So just having them a part of this atmosphere has been great. Like I say, it's a difficult transition for everyone involved because we have to figure one another out, idiosyncrasies and everything. But my family has been supportive. And I was talking to Pam the other day, and she was giving me advice about how to deal with family difficulties. She has a great story. I wish we could find the time to tell it. She's so energetic and passionate now. That sweet smile to let you know that, hey, she does know how to create boundaries. And I've learned from that how to create and establish new boundaries when I'm engaging with family, whether it's my own geological family as well as my new extended family here at PBMR.
Thank you, Joe.
You have time for that story, Pamela?
Well, you know, the good thing about being a restorative justice mindset, I mean, I go to bed thinking restorative, I eat restorative, I wake up restorative. So I am in conversations with individuals, with coworkers, with my family. I come into the conversation with, we don't hold titles. We're just individuals, human beings coming together, and no one's going to judge us. That's very important. No one's going to judge us, and every voice is important. The conversation JoJo is talking about was, if I was doing a circle with him and his family and the young man that we were talking about, everybody comes with something that needs to be said and they want to be heard. So that's the biggest thing I've learned by being a restorative justice practitioner is
Lost Pamela, and she was saying some powerful things, but maybe Nick can bring her back in. But I'd like to then kind of go to a different question about what is your vision for the families that we work with? What is your vision for them moving forward, your hope for them? Would anybody like to begin that address? And, you know, whatever family, but what's your hope and passion for these families that we work in day after day?
Well, Sister Donna, I gotta say that since I have been at Precious Blood, my vision has not changed. I've always longed to see our women, our young girls, and now our family as we become full circle with the work that we do. I want to see them embraced, inspired, and empowered. I want them to really know that this is family, right? This PBMR circle is their family and they are welcomed here. There's hospitality here. There's hope and there's healing. I want them to be able to feel that and to see that with their natural eye. And then on top of that, I want them to feel inspired. I want us to be able to introduce restorative justice in circles and just this new way of life, and to be able to give them so many skills through our various programs, whether that be our education lab, our garden, our job readiness, our wood shop, our silk screening, to be able to give them these programs and for them to see like, wow, I can do that. You know, I can have this skill. I can embrace this. I can take it back. And finally, I want to see them empowered enough to say, I can do this for my family. My family is going to be well. My family is now strengthened. My family is now made a little bit more whole because we know Precious Blood, because we have connected to them. So that is my vision, to just be able to embrace families, to feel to help them to feel inspired and empowered, so that when they look up in a few years, they know that they are much better off. They know that they've been in good hands here at PBMR.
I love that, Karlyn, because I'm right with you on that. So just to see them and to see them have their basic needs taken care of, to just have a home where they feel safe and happy, and a place where they don't have to worry about paying bills every month, that they have good, safe transportation, just those basic needs that we all need and we want for our children and our families. And sometimes our own families don't have that here. And so those of you who are listening today, we really ask you to help us that every family could have those basic needs and be empowered and know that their voice is just as important as the person next to them, that we're all have a voice and we're all treasured and we're all God's children. So thank you. I'm with you on that. A lot of passion for that.
Thank you.
I'm back with us, Pamela.
I'm so sorry. I knew it.
Oh.
Lost her again.
Okay, Joseph, were you going to speak to that and what you hope for our families in this community and for all kinds of families?
What I hope for our family is for them to be emboldened to know that they have the power to make as much change as they want to see. I will hope for our family, like Carla said, that they can learn the life skills to actually step into their new imagined reality. I will hope they'll be emboldened to return back to a time when we can have the block parties and be connected with one another. When we can come out and have the bouncy houses for the kids. I would hope for the families that the children can be sent to school without fear of having anything to, any dangers in the background. I hope this for the family. I hope for a sense of dignity. What I do realize is families are prideful. And they recognize, and that's one thing you have to hold on to, even when you're going through difficult times. So I would hope that families have restored their dignity, which I know they already have, till they don't have to feel bad about having to ask for a little assistance, and recognizing that we're all interconnected and we have shortcomings at different times. I would hope that the listeners involved would feel moved to want to support this work that we do so we can help the families grow and step into this new emboldened lifestyle.
I think also, could you address a little bit of just our youth, our young men? You know, I think Nick works with those from like almost 11, 12, 13, all the way up to 20 or so. Our young men in our community, what is your hope for them?
Our young men in the community, I will hope that they are given an opportunity, that they are seen. Oftentimes they're misunderstood and people see them and they automatically label them as troubled or a problem or at risk for failure instead of seeing them as at promise for success. And I borrowed that term from Susan Benzet, but at promise for success. I hope the rest of the world can see this, that misunderstood youth may just need a space and an outlet to communicate their thoughts, their fears, and what it is for their fragility to be seen and not being looked at as dangerous to others. Because if they're given that space, we just did an activity yesterday when we went out, and it was so fun to see them outside of the community and with genuine smiles on their faces, because we went out to a far out area. And I will hope that we don't have to travel so far to have that much fun and see those genuine smiles. I will hope they're given an opportunity to flourish and become the young men and women that we already know they can be. I will hope for that. I will hope they can recognize their potential, because so many of them are very talented. We have a young man here, Curtis Dixon. Now that Pamela's back, I would like her to speak about the
I'm so sorry.
had.
I apologize. I'm having technical problems here. I'm sorry. I'm back.
Because we had and I want you to speak to this, Pamela, we had a circle with the youth and the local police officers. And I want her to speak about how this can be a difficult dialogue, but a possible dialogue. And I want our youth to know that we don't have to walk around just holding in our pain. We can find a space to let it out and to heal.
Thank Thank you. And I apologize. It just goes away. I knew before this started, if something was going to go wrong, it was going to happen right here, but I'm back.
That's what's right. Yes.
One of the things that I do at Precious Blood is I create possibilities for different kinds of circles, be it with the staff, with our young men, or bringing individuals in from the outside. So what I've done is created this scenario where each month we bring in someone from the outside, and these are conversation circles where our young men and staff can have conversations with people from different walks of life, from different careers. We've had state's attorney, we've had RJ specialists, we're just having a lot of fun. But the last one, the circle that JoJo is talking about, bringing in Chicago police officers to talk to our young men, and it's just conversation. What we do though first, which is very important, is create that space, make it feel safe to have these conversations. And when that happens, I could be doing a circle on anything, but once that space is safe, then that conversation happens. So the last one just happened to have been with Chicago police officers. It was very informative. We look forward to next month's circle. I think we have a judge coming in, and that's something that if anybody that's watching, if you think you want to come in and have conversation with our young men, with the staff, I'll create that space, because that's what I do, create safe space, and we can have a circle. And we learn a lot. I learn a lot every time that I bring individuals together and I sit in circle. I am a participant. I learn a lot. I keep that space, but what's important is that we build that community, and it's ongoing. We don't just do a circle and don't return. We follow up, we check in, we see where people are, we repeat circles, but it's important that I keep creating that space, and that's what I do at Precious Blood. I create that space and train people, other individuals. That's really important. I don't want to be the only one doing this. I'm not the only one doing it. So one of my biggest part of what I do is training individuals to create their own space in their own institutions, in the other hubs, not just Precious Blood. We have several other hubs throughout the city. They're doing circles, people are being trained, and as well as people in the community.
And Pamela, because you keep saying this term, creating space, I just want to give a plug for one of our newest programs here at PBMR, where we are literally working with families. I haven't really shared a lot about this program, but as of today, we are so grateful to have, Sister Donna, is it 3? We have 3 families?
4.
We have 4 families. As of today, we are literally weekly working with these families one-on-one to sit down and say, what are your needs? How can we create a space to where you can learn new skills? We can sit down and then you can take these skills right back to your homes and implement them within your own family. So I'm super excited about all of this space that we're able to create here at PBMR for our individuals, but for our families. And I'm excited to see this program grow. I'm excited to see it constantly get funded. I'm just excited to see what the future of these families will look like now that they have really committed to a 6-month-long journey and longer here in the Mother Brunner House. So that was just a shameless plug of our newest program.
Thanks, Karlyn. And Karlyn, I wanted to go back and ask you also, giving birth very soon to a little boy, I was wondering what your hopes and dreams for him are, and maybe some of your fears also. So I know you kind of balance both of that, but anyhow, we're excited about you giving birth to a little boy soon.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I think one of the reasons why I've been able to bond so closely with a lot of the young women in our neighborhood is because I relate to their fears. I relate to their joys of being a young parent. I am 23 years old. I am young. I am motivated. And yeah, I may have a little bit more education than our young women in our community may have, but at the same time, naturally we feel the same thing. I have a daughter who is 2 years old, and my desire for her is to grow up and to know that she is a queen, that she's going to wear her crown and she's going to do great things. She's going to be sassy and outspoken and smart. But when it comes to my boys, I have many of the same concerns that a lot of our young women in PBMR have. Lately, we've been seeing a lot of our young women move out of the neighborhood. And my hope is that one day, you know, our neighborhood could be a place where people are returning back to, right? And they feel connected and they feel safe. But as of today, the truth is a lot of our young women are moving out of the neighborhood because they have sons and because they fear gun violence, because they fear for their safety. And as a mother, a Black mother getting ready to raise a Black son, those are some of my same concerns. But I want to be able to raise a son who is able to hold his head up high and to know that he has so many possibilities, to know that he is going to be a part of a family, whether that be the one that he's being birthed into or a community like PBMR, to know that he's going to be supported and that he's going to be well loved. So yeah, I have a lot of the same concerns and dreams and hopes that a lot of the young women in our community and in our program has. And because of that, it allows me to just build better rapport with our women and with our families, and to let them know that I am right there with you. I see what's going on. I feel what's going on. I feel your pain and I feel all of your joy. So yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting this little guy and seeing how he'll be a burst of energy into the world. But I pray daily. I have to.
Thank you.
Very good.
We're coming almost to a close, so kind of as our checkout, I would like for you to, we have so many people listening, and we have a great group in Portland, Oregon, I understand, who are having a watch party. So we just want to tell our listeners and our supporters, you know, what do we need with our families that we're working with in order to help them to move forward? What is really some of our greatest needs and how they, because I hear so often, how can we help you? So can we suggest some ways maybe that our listeners could be a great help to us, that you already are financially, emotionally, and spiritually? The prayers that you offer for us, we so appreciate. How else can we invite them into our family to support us and be a part of our work?
Well, I'll go because I could disappear any minute. I'm so sorry.
You go.
I feel
Go,
so awful
Pamela.
about that. I want the whole world to know I'm so sorry. You know, I would like, especially when the schools reopen, I would like to continue training, be it virtual or in person. Right now, like I said, we're still training people. The limit is 8 to 10 people. We do offer scholarships because we don't want people to say, oh no, I can't do this because I can't afford it. But we just want to open our doors. So we'll be ready. We'll be ready to hit the ground running when the schools open back up. And I hope that happens where I can, like I started out doing this work, creating peace rooms in a lot of the schools. It's my dream that there's a peace circle room in all the schools throughout this city and beyond. So to train, I would like to continue training, doing what I do best, training as many people as I can to get ready for when we are back in the schools. I'd like to continue to work with the mothers because I know that it feels good if they have that power to create space for their families, to bring people together. So training is essential still, even when things are closed. So scholarships, we're looking for scholarships to give your individuals so they can be properly trained and they can continue the work we're doing now, as well as when we're back in the schools and back in the community. So that's where I'm at. It's just want to continue to enlighten people and train individuals to do this.
Pamela, what would it cost for one person to receive a scholarship so that they could get the training?
Well, it's about $500 a person, but then there are group rates too. When people come together, then we work with them. We do a lot of some agencies where it's just that staff, and then we do like we did the mothers, that's a group rate, but individually it's about $500 a person. And then sometimes we also just ask for donations when people come together, because like I said, we don't want that to limit people from understanding and learning about restorative justice, because it really is powerful and very so needed in what we're going through in the country today.
Thank you. Oh, Joseph, good. Checking out what can help you to see your people move forward, your families.
I would say access to improved qualities of life. Because when you think about a lot of things and what limit us, yes, you can offer a person financial literacy to help them better manage the small resources that they may have. But if we don't have the ability to kind of move forward, we'll be repeating the same cycle. So I would say for access to quality education, quality lines of credit. I myself has a 759 credit score, but are unable to receive lines of credit because I have a limited credit history and work history. And I can imagine how many other families that score may not be that way. And oftentimes when we have limited options, we make poor decisions. So if we had a greater selection of options to choose from, I believe families would make better decisions for themselves. And don't get it twisted. We do not in any way think that we make decisions for the family. We try to present them with options and information and allow them to, we just privileged to walk through this process with them. So my desire is to have greater access for the families in the community in different ways, whatever that may look like. When we think about education, so if our listeners are listening, if you can support scholarships, because this work is very costly. It's difficult for us to ask for it because we really just want to do the work. But being realistic, we recognize that it comes with a price tag. There's so many needs that need to be met, and there's a limited amount of resources for many people who may need them. So I would like access. Once again, I can't stress that enough. I know limited access makes it difficult for a lot of people to move forward. So if anyone's listening and feel moved in any way you can, even if it's saying, well, okay, you're gonna offer the training to teach us a different skill set so we can spread it to our community. Or if you're gonna help us with ongoing professional development or something, and when I say us, I speak of us inclusive with the community, and there's no separation.
That's beautiful. So I definitely second both the training and the access. But here's my challenge to the listeners. As you go about your day today, I want you to think about all of those basic things that you have around your home or that you're able to get out and do that you don't even think about on a daily, right? Whether that be you are able to sit down and have lunch. You have food in your refrigerator. It is the weekend. You are able to wash your clothes. You don't have to travel far because your washer is right there. You are able to get in your car because you know how to drive. That is a skill that not a lot of our people have. You are able to go put money on your bus card. You have all of these things. You have a newborn baby and you have diapers and wipes right at your disposal. You have a play area for your children. All of these things that help you get through your day that are so common that you don't even think about. I want you to think about those things because those are the things that we need right here for our families. Our families need food vouchers. Our families need things for their young children, whether that's diapers and wipes or detergent or vouchers to go wash their clothes or bus cards. These are the simple things that we have access to. Like, we're so privileged in that sense that when we go home, we have them, but not a lot of our families in back of the yard in Inglewood, they have those things. So think about it as you go about your day, all of those simple things that we are blessed to have, that we know that's super essential, but we don't even think about it because we just have them. Those are the things that we are lacking here, and that is definitely one tangible way that you can support financially or with your donation. So all of those simple things that get you through your day, we want to be able to help our families get through their day as well.
Thank you. And this is wonderful. Just, can you feel the passion of these three staff persons? Like I said, we have 17 or 18 more with that kind of passion that really want families to move forward. So I'm going to do a big ask because, you know, we talk about, as Karlyn said, those basic things are very important, yes. But you know, our youth to go on to college or onto a skill or something, that takes quite a bit of money. So if anyone wants to maybe adopt a family, I would love to see you adopt one of our families. And it could be as simple as just writing them little letters of encouragement, you know, every month or every 6 months or whatever. And it could be as big as supporting one of their children go to college, or it could be just helping them make sure they have their bus pass every month. Or it could be bringing them Christmas gifts for Christmas, or just providing them with Christmas gifts for Christmas. But to adopt one of our families, you'd be so much a part of our family, and you'd be so much a part of our ministry, and you'd be so blessed. And our bigger ask is, you know, our youth are not safe. We just had a vigil yesterday for the people who were killed in Chicago, and there were 80 names of people from 60 to a little 8-year-old girl, and I think a little 3-year-old, who were murdered in our city. So there's a lot of fear and a lot of hurt here. And what we need is really a community center here. We need a community center where we can provide a safe place for our kids to play, to interact, our families together. We're very crowded. And so if anybody feels like they would like to begin a process of helping us to build a community center, that would be tremendous for helping our families to move forward. And if that's too big, yes, bus passes, gift cards are also extremely blessed. And last of all, I would just ask that you really pray for us. Our community has lots of hurts, lots of losses, lots of needs, but they're beautiful, spiritual, wonderful people in our community. And we are so privileged to be able to accompany them and be a part of their lives, that they trust us with their lives. And our staff too, we've got a beautiful PBMR family. We work well together. And so we thank you for listening. And if you would like to just check out again and say your name and how you leave this circle. Who wants to check out?
I'm Pamela. I'm checking out. I'm feeling wonderful. I still feel bad about disappearing throughout this Zoom, but you know, I'll get there. I feel absolutely wonderful. I feel blessed that I am a part of PBMR community and doing the work that I so love to do. Thank you, Sister Donna, and thank you to all of you who are watching and that's going to continue to stay connected to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Pamela.
I'm Karlyn. I second Pamela. Yes, I'm feeling all of that. I'm also feeling very hopeful. I feel like we are moving forward and we are moving our families forward, and that is a wonderful feeling to have. Yay. So thank you for allowing me to be on this panel today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. I'm Joseph Mapp, and like the two beautiful women before me have mentioned, I'm excited. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that all that's supporting us today will find some way to support in whichever way they can, even if it's a letter of support. So I'm very hopeful, and I'm grateful for this opportunity to be able to share my hopes and dreams for the future, as well as to share in this work. This is a great opportunity, and I encourage you all, even some that's listening, I hope you're inspired to start doing the work. If you don't have any money to give or any donations to make, donate a little time. Come into the community, mentor one of the young families as well. It's different ways you can give. So I'm happy about that, and I'm grateful. I'm leaving this circle grateful and inspired.
Yes. And feel free.
I also check out, Pamela, did you want to say?
Feel free to come sit in circle with us anytime. We're always holding circle at least once a week or once every 2 weeks. So please feel free to come sit in circle with us.
And I also check out as Donna, and just so extremely grateful for, in my old age, to be a part of such a wonderful, powerful ministry. And yes, thank you to these three panelists, because you spoke so well about who we are and what we do and our hopes for our families in this community.
Thank you.
And so I leave with, I just heard from Nick that we have reached $50,000.
We have a way to go. Please.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for everyone who did.
Let's give everybody a big hand. All around the world.
Thanks all around
Thank
the
you.
world.
Yep. Thank you. God bless you all.
Yes, take care.